tenses. And to be more specific, we'll talk about the present and all the format of the present. So the present simple, continuous, and perfect. We'll also review the pasts and the past tenses, which is basically the past simple, continuous, perfect, and the perfect continuous. All right. At the end of this lesson, you will be assigned to talk about somebody who inspires you. The reason why we are not reviewing in today's lesson the future tense is because we're going to talk about the inspiring personality or character in your life. So it's going to be past and present tenses. Right? So let's get started. Right here is a picture of a nurse. Her name is Florence Nightingale. Of course, as you can see from the picture, you can see there's soldiers and there's also injured people and soldiers. She lived back in the days where they were the World War One, excuse me. So that was a long time ago. Today we will read about her life and her inspiring personality. So does anybody have an idea about her, Florence Nightingale?
No, I don't have any idea.
So let's get to know her better together. Florence Nightingale is one of the lead females and the only, she's like the mother of all modern nursing, okay? She invented and she was the reason why when you walk in any hospital, you see there's hygiene measures, there's really strict rules when it comes to the cleaning and everything that it has to do with she's more into issues that have to do with organizing and cleaning, the hygiene and all of that in the hospitals. Because I'm not a nurse, but this is what mainly her main focus in her life. So she's the mother of modern nursing. In her lifetime, she was known as the lady with the lamp. Of course, back in the days, there were no really good electricity. There was minimal use of electricity. So she used a lamp, and she was walking around the rooms and the patients with the lamp. And she worked basically 24 hours, 7 days a week. She had no days off and all of that. She really had a goal and an aim, and she worked her life to get to that aim or to that goal, okay? So back in the days when she was taking charge of the hospitals, she made enormous improvements, right? So let's look here at the first paragraph about her. They said that Florence Nightingale, she was born in May 12, 1820 in Florence, Italy. She was the second daughter of a rich British family. And from an early age, she showed an interest in helping the poor and sick. Her parents wanted her to marry, but Florence was strong-willed. This is one of the words that we need to highlight. and the questions later, and she went against their wishes. So she was a little bit stubborn. At the age of 24, she spent some months studying medical care in Germany. Then in the early 50s, while she was working at a hospital in London, she set about trying to improve the poor standards of hygiene. In 1853, Britain became involved in the Crimean War. So one of the, how British makes a lot of wars, but however, so many British soldiers were suffering because of the lack of medical care. So Florence set off for Crimea with a team of nurses she had trained. Okay, so as you can see here, they say in the notes, Crimea is a peninsula located on the north coast of the Black Sea. So it's just the name of a peninsula, so it's not an island. It looks like an island, but it's not. The Crimean War took place between 1853 and 1856. All right, let's check out the questions about this paragraph together. First one, read the final sentence in the first paragraph, which is strong-willed right here. What does strong-willed means? Does anybody know? So as I said, you can say, I said that she's stubborn, but when somebody is strong-willed, it also means, on the other hand, that she is someone who is very determined and somebody who will never give up or doesn't give up easily. So strong-willed means that it's somebody who is very determined. The second question, what do you think sit about? So here, it's a phrasal verb, sit about. What does that mean? So sit about doing something. Who can tell us? So sit about doing something. She set about trying to improve the poor standards of hygiene. She set about
Trying to control something.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But to be specific for her, like for this sentence,
Yeah.
when they described the phrasal verb sit about, they wanted to say that
Or arranging something.
yeah, she arranged something. She set a goal or an aim.
Yes.
So basically, you're in the same exact area what we're talking about. So that's a really good answer. So she set a goal or an aim to make a change over time, and that change over time requires a lot of time and effort. So when we say here, she set about trying, she set about trying to improve the poor standards of hygiene. So that was her main goal, because that's her main objective. All right, great job, Aveen. What do you do to maintain good hygiene? Of course, pretty sure we're all like adults and grown-ups, like all the measures of hygiene, like brushing teeth, washing, cleaning clothes, blah, 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 all of that. Okay. Let's go to the next part right here. The next part of this lesson, you guys. Here. I know it's German, but never mind. It's in German, okay? All right. So we'll just review. As you know, there's 12 tenses in English language. But today we'll just take a look at the main idea, just to refresh your mind. I'm pretty sure you've took a lot of lessons and all of that regarding these tenses, but today we're just gonna refresh your mind a little bit. So, as you know, English tenses is a concept that you've took in school and you will repeat it more and more because it's the basic of English language, right? On a more serious note, though, if you are able to understand these concepts and how they work, instead just to memorize them and look at the rules, where's they are situated in the sentence and the keywords, and all of that is important. But if you really wanted to utilize the English language, you just need to understand the concept more than memorizing the tenses, right? Okay, so tenses give us the timeline of the action, right? So it gives us a description or the form of the verb that it's used. So we said that there is three tenses, the main one, and then these three all have four formats. So the verb comes in three tenses: past, present, and future, right? Today we'll take a look at the past and the present only for now. So, as you know, refresh your mind. So I'm just going to refer for the past. It's just describing things that's already happened. And from that point, you can, it can be earlier in the day, yesterday, few minutes ago, 3 years ago, doesn't matter, it's in the past. For instance, the present tense is used to describe things that is happening right now and they are still continuous. So things that is right now happening. So it's like a live camera. The future tense we're not gonna discuss today, but as you know, it's all about things that are not yet happened. So they are in the future. And the goal of today's lesson is to write that down about the inspiring personality that inspires you, basically. So it's going to be either in the past tense that you're going to use in your assignment or in the present, right? Okay, before we jump into how and why, let us just first understand the verb forms, okay, and how to stipulate them. So now you can see right here that the form in English language, the base form, okay, the infinitive form, we call it verb 1. And then the past simple, we call it the verb 2. And the past participle, we call it the verb 3, just as a form, okay, which is different than the tenses themselves. These are called verb forms. So verb 1 is the base form, so the infinitive. And then the past simple is verb 2. The past participle is verb 3. Okay. So because we're going to talk about during all the course, verb 1, verb 2, verb 3, and so on. So these are just like keynotes. All right. tenses are very easy to understand when we know when we use them. You do not need to, as I said before, to memorize anything, just to understand the usage in different scenarios. So if we go throughout this presentation, you can see here we have the present simple, which is in the X, right? And then you got here past simple, past perfect, past continuous. And we have here the present perfect and the present continuous. Okay, these three. And then we've got right here the future simple and the future going to, which right now we're not gonna discuss any future formats. Okay, so for our present, which is the X right here, the usage, we use it if we want to talk about facts or universal truth. So everybody agrees that this thing is a fact, okay? Something that is a hobby, okay, or a habit, we use the present simple. With stative verbs, well, I'll discuss the format of the verbs later on, but stative verbs, they describe your state of mind. Like, for example, you can say the verb to be, okay? I will go through these in details, but not now. We're just getting started. I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So we use it with scheduled activities. Okay, so if I want to also describe a particular routine, I use what? The present format. As of how we say the structure of the sentence is basically subject and verb one, right? Which is the base form. When it comes to our keywords, these are the keywords, but there's more. Really, for today, what you need to understand is the real usage, okay? So, and of course, the sentence structures for the assignment that I'm talking about, the structure, not anything else. But I care for this course all about your ability to communicate and to talk about yourself, like what's going on in your mind and so on. Okay, next we've got, this is what's happening now, which is the X. Right, and then we've got the present continuous. The present continuous is basically, it means that an activity started some time ago, but it's still going on. So it started some time ago, but it's still going on while we are speaking, right? So it happens a while ago, but it's still going on while we're speaking. That's why the arrow is still moving. So it means that the action is still going on. So for the present continuous, the usage is pretty straightforward. So actions happening at the moment and plans in the future. This is like a particular case, okay? So it's basically using the verb going to, okay? So it's very specific. If you have also plans, yeah, you can use the verb ing, but as a gerund, right? Right here, I'm not gonna get into details and in depth. What you need to know is we're talking about an activity that is started sometimes ago and still going on while we're speaking. The formats when you are constructing a sentence using that tense is subject, and then is, am, or are as an auxiliary, plus the verb ing. So the ing form. Okay. Keywords at the present, at the moment, right now, currently. So they're all describing like something that is really happening right now. So just like you are watching a football match. Plans in the future, this is a very particular case that you can also use the present continuous. Okay. Next one for the present, we've got the present perfect. This is the present perfect right here. The present perfect means that the activity is over, but it still has an effect on the present. So that's why the arrow, this is the present. Okay, that is the now. This is a bit in the past, so it is a bit over, but the effect is right now. So the effect is now in the present. The usage of the present perfect is for unfinished actions, of course, because we still have an effect right now. How long, as if you want to talk about how long has this thing been going on, and so on. Life experiences. Okay, you can talk about stories. The present perfect format is used a lot in books and in stories. It's also used in news. If you're watching the news, you will hear a lot of present perfect. Okay, because it happened a little bit in the past, but still have an effect in the future. For the there's also the present perfect continuous. It's used, it's not right here, but it's used basically, I will just mention it before I forgot the present perfect rule. So the present perfect is have, has, which is the auxiliary that comes with the subject, plus verb 3. Okay. Plus verb what? Verb 3. Who knows what verb 3 again? Verb 3 is the past participle.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So for the past, the perfect continuous, it's basically, it's not here in this timeline, but we're talking about an activity that started in the past, of course, but we are not sure when it will end. So this is why it's perfect continuous. I'm not sure when it's going to be concluded, when it's going to be ended. So the format of the sentence or the rule of the sentence is going to be S for subject, has been. So has been, and then the ing. Okay. So we use the perfect continuous just to mention it. We're not gonna really go into depth with the present perfect continuous, but just to understand the difference between the perfect continuous and the perfect. Lastly but not least, the past. Okay, the past tense we'll discuss the 4 formats as well. If you are in the past, it means that something is already over, it's done. So the usage is for short actions in the past that is over. And also you can use it if you want to talk about stories or tales. Now, as of the format is quite simple. You got subject plus verb 2. Verb 2 is the past, simple. Then We've got the past continuous right here, which is describing the activity that is going on before it's over. However, it is interrupted by another activity. Okay, so we're talking about an activity. It's going on. That's why the arrow is going on. And then there's another activity or something that happened to interrupt it. So we've got here past simple, when, past continuous. So it means that it was interrupted. This is just to like refresh your mind the difference between when and while, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So it was interrupted. When I say I was walking to school, so the first thing we're gonna use that when I saw Peter, or you can say when I saw Peter, I was walking to school. It's the same thing. You use the past simple, a when, and then the past continuous. Again, you want to use it, the past continuous, to emphasize length, to overlap action. Okay, so if you want to really overlap the action, so there's something that is interrupting other things that you were doing. As of the rule, for the past continuous, was or were plus ing form. So was or were ing form. Okay, so subject, was or were, and then the ing form. Another way, as you can see here, we have while. You can say while and then use past continuous, which is one of the keywords. That's why I'm going to just go over it. And then and the other sentence, you can talk about the past continuous. So while it was both of them at the same exact time. When it means that something was interrupting the other. So some activity interrupted what you were doing. So those are the keywords. As long as constantly all day long, it means that there is past continuous actions going on. As with the past perfect, the past perfect is an activity that started in the past and was concluded. However, another activity also happened, and we're referring to what? The first activity. So they are related somehow. The past perfect, we're relating both of the activity together. We didn't say interrupted, but there's one activity that happened before the other. Okay. So if you have two activities and one activity that happened before the other, not while you're doing so, before, okay, it's the perfect past. So if there's something that happened before the past simple, is of course the past perfect, and I don't know what happened. So and we used in the third conditional. So in if clause, but conditional form this one. This one. All right. So the keywords for the perfect past is before, which shows basically an action, and then there's another ended action that was before, and F for the third conditional, which makes perfect sense. However, the perfect continuous for the past tense, I'll mention it, but it's really not used in conditional, like in conversational English. So it's really not used in conversation. You won't hear it often. So it's had been plus verb ing. For the perfect one, the rule is had verb 3. So had verb 3 for the perfect. Okay. Perfect continuous, we don't need to focus a lot for this one, but just to understand that it also might have something going on as well. It's a bit more complicated than it sounds. Okay. So for this one, it's not conversational English. We're not going to go through it for this class. Okay. So there you go. Now we're just reviewing some, the verb tenses. It's time to start practicing and focus. We're going to focus more when it comes to our the assignment. Right, so for now, we're gonna talk about this past simple exercise, but we can still use the same exact paragraph that we discussed before. So we used the past simple. We said to talk about past actions and states, and we said that there are things that are in the past and are like definitely done. We're done with it. So they are all over. Let's use these. We're gonna complete the text using these words in our paragraph. So let's get started. And then we're gonna answer question A and B. Florence Nightingale was born on May 12, 1820 in Florence, Italy. She was exactly, great job. So she was the second daughter of a rich British family, and from an early age, she showed an interest in helping. Yeah, so showed. But this is also in the past. Her parents, what her parents, can you do word verb want? So her parents wanted, right? As you know, we're gonna also discuss the regular and the irregular. Of course, it's a list of verbs that we need just to review. The regular, we just add ed. The irregular, they have special format, and there's no way around it to memorize irregular verbs, right? So, her parents wanted her to marry.
Wanted her.
Yes, wanted, exactly, wanted her. Great job, Ajin. And she, against their wishes. So she went against their wishes. At the age of 24, she spent, so spent. This is an irregular verb, right? Doesn't end with spent. Then we've got here, she set about. Remember the special phrasal verb? Set about trying to improve the poor standards of hygiene. So set about, exactly the way it is. Set about. And then in 1853, Britain became. It's just the word that is after the gap can give us a hint. What are we gonna use? The many British soldiers were suffering because of the lack of medical care. So Florence, what she did. So Florence set off for Crimea with a team of nurses she had trained. So sit. Okay. So here we have first. Yeah, you can see it. This is sit off. This is the last. Yeah. Which verbs are regular and which are irregular? We know that here, for example, show, what else? Want is regular, right?
Become.
Become, yeah, become. Become is not regular. You mean irregular?
Yeah.
Yeah, become is irregular, spend is irregular, and all the others are all irregular. So show and want are only regular, and all the others are irregular. Sit off is a like special case, and sit about. So those are phrasal verbs. Okay, they're not into we cannot specify if they're regular or not. Okay. Set about also means undertake. Set off means to start on a journey. So set off, it means that they got started. So they launched. They took off, kind of. Okay. Set about is to undertake or to really set goals or aims. Okay. That when it comes to the past simple. Okay, so here we're gonna just do some simple past simple, past simple. We're just gonna check and put each verbs in the sentence. Before we put it, we're just gonna complete the sentences and check if they are regular or not. So, number one, we've got John to our house for dinner last night. So, John came, right? So it's an irregular verb. Then Sally grew up, which means that it's also irregular, right? Third one, when I was a child, we always ate dinner at 6 p.m. So 8 is irregular. It rained. Rained is regular. Rained. We for the concert tickets. So we paid. That's irregular. The baby. What about the baby? The baby well last night.
Slept.
Yes, slept. And the verb sleep is
Irregular.
now Leo always wore a hat in summer, which means it's irregular. Ella, the cake into 10 portions. Ella,
Cut.
exactly. So it means that it's also irregular. So they're all so far irregular except rain, right? Yeah. Rain. We met Alex and Rachel at a party many years ago. It's also irregular. So they're all irregular except rain. Which other irregular verbs we note that we often mention the time with the past simple. Yeah. As you can see, there's always a time and like a specific time frame when it comes to the past simple. This is just a note, side note. Let's continue with Florence. Can you read, I think, please? This is the second part of the.
Yes, at the age of 24, she spent some months studying medical care in Germany. Then in the early 1850 years, while she was working at a hospital in London, she set about trying to improve the poor standards of hygiene. In 1853, Britain became involved in the Crimean War. Many British soldiers were suffering because of the lack of medical care, so Florence set off for Crimea with a team of nurses she had trained.
Great job, perfect. So the past continuous, we said that it's about an activity that is going on. Before it's over, it's interrupted by another activity or a shorter action, okay? So the shorter action is usually expressed in the past simple, which makes sense, right? And as you can see here in bold, you will see the format, which is was or were plus verb ing. So was, verb ing, or were, verb ing as the rule format. Let's work on these here together. So complete the sentences with the past continuous. So the verb is right here. We just need to make the past continuous. We said the past continuous is was or were plus verb ing. And was or were depends on our subject or the pronoun. Okay. So okay. The first one, while what about the first one?
Was doing.
Yes, was doing. Great job. So what I was doing my homework, I heard a loud sound out in the street. The next one, let's look at it together. The sun was shining and the birds were singing as I walked to school. Third one, let's look at it. I can't remember what we
were doing.
Yes, amazing. The fourth one, Nicole was studying at university when she got her first job. The fifth one, when I looked out of the car window, I could see a dog that
was running.
Yes, exactly. So was running alongside us. Yesterday at 6 p.m. we dessert.
We were eating.
Yes, good job. We were eating. And then 7, I was waiting for the 438 bus, but the 436 arrived, so I got on it. Last night, Simon
was reading.
Yes, was reading, exactly. Great job. 9, she in the park when she stumbled over a branch on the path.
She was running.
Before the last one, he
was writing.
Was writing, exactly. Good job. Last one, when he woke up, it
was running.
Yeah, it was raining, cats and dogs. So this is just an expression. Great job. The next part here is we need to read the part of the text. and then we will answer the questions. All right. I'll give you a minute just to take a look at the paragraphs, and then once you're ready, just click on the hand button next to your name so we can get started. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go. So, which adjective means shocking or disgusting?
I think appalling conditions.
Yes. Okay, great job. So this adjective is a special adjective. Yeah, it also means, it looks like a verb, right? But
Yes.
it is an adjective. All right. B. What does the text say about soap and bandages?
There is a lack of soap and bandage.
Exactly, great job. So there's a shortage of them. Great job. C. It says, which adjective is opposite to hygienic?
Sanitary.
Unsanitary, yes. Unsanitary. D. We've got, what were the soldiers dying from?
Dying from typhoid or cholera.
Yes, so exactly. And those are infection or
Yes,
infection.
infection.
Great job. And yeah, so this is the two diseases that you mentioned, which is typhoid and cholera.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. Good job. Which verb means to deal with something? I want to deal with
Worked tirelessly.
the verb is
She worked tirelessly night and day.
that
She tackled the
just the verb, not the expression. Yeah,
tackle. Yes.
yeah. So just the verb is to tackle. Great job.
Tackle. Yes, yes.
All right, the mortality rate here, which is basically the number of death. We call it the mortality rate, which is
Yes, yes.
okay. All right, so that's only, this is just a reading task. We're gonna go to the next one. So here we're gonna talk about, there's two examples of the past perfect simple, which is, you can see Florence had never seen. Here at the beginning, Florence had never seen. We're talking about the past perfect. And also there is the other one, had. He worked.
No more.
Guess there's another had. So somewhere. Just trying to the factor should become obviously on the left shoulder. Oh yeah, had fallen, this one. That's
Yes.
so had fallen. Let's go to the next one, which is gonna be about the past perfect simple. Again, we said that we use the past perfect simple is because there is an event that happened before another. So the event that happened before is the past simple one, which is the one that is already further in the past, or it's already done. And it's also, we said it's joined by words like when, while, because, by the time, and so. What else we said about the past perfect? We said it matters when it comes to the format, had plus the verb ed, which is the verb 3. Okay, so had plus the verb 3 form. We said it's all about something that happened and then joined together by another thing or an activity that also was happened in the past. It says here, we use the past perfect simple to make the order of events clear. So basically, we use it to make sure that the reader or the listener is understanding the order of the events or the activities that happened. Okay, so for this one, for the next activity, we need to do the format, which is had plus verb 3. We'll just do a couple of examples and then move on to the next one. I'll send you guys the answers for all the activities. So let's go and check the first one. When Stephanie arrived at the meeting, her colleagues, John and Sarah, if you want to
left.
had, and then her had left. So had left. Great job. The second one, the ticket office by the time Joel arrived. The ticket office had closed. So had plus the verb 3. Okay, you feel you need to do more? Okay, I'll send you the answers for all the other exercises as well. Right. So this is the final part of the text. We just need to put the phrases that we see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, in the right position, so the text will make sense. So let's read it together and then we'll try to pick one of our options. Florence Nightingale died in London on August 13, 1910. But her legacy lives on. The Nightingale School for Nurses, which Florence established in London in 1860, is still training nurses today. and has maintained its reputation for excellence. Then we've got C, which will be 2. International Nurses Day has been celebrated on her birthday, May 12th, since 1965. In short, the last one is 4. Florence Nightingale has inspired people all over the world to respect or even join the nursing profession. Okay. All right. So far, that's the last part of the text. The next part of the lesson is about all the present tenses. So we said that we're talking about the present when we know that something that is going on and is still going on. And we discussed also the present continuous, which means that it still has an impact right now. If we want to talk about what else? The present perfect, we're talking about 1 and 4 right here, which is it says that this state or action that started in the past and has continued until now, which we talked about it earlier on in the class today. We said it still have an impact right now. This is the present perfect. So it started in the past, but still had an impact right now. So and also the perfect one is for number 4, which is a repeated action that started in the past, but is still continued right now. Again, it's the same idea, but here we're talking about a repeated action, so something that is keep on repeating. Okay. Next one, we've got to distinguish between the present simple and the present continuous. So there are both about now and around now. We use the present simple for, we said, actions, habits, facts, so universal truth. And we use the continuous if the action still has an impact and the progress is right now around you or for temporary situation. Okay, so when we say around now, as we said, it's around you, there's going on. It says here, remember that we do not use state verbs in a continuous tense. So continuous tense, which is basically, we said, progress that the actions that are in progress or temporary situation. What are the state verbs? State verbs, we said, verbs that show your mindset, like the verb to be, love, like, believe, agree, see, appear, think, remember. Those are all state verbs. So this is all about your state of mind. The state verbs do never come as the present continuous form. Okay. All right. Next. Okay. This one is simple or continuous. Let's take a look at these 6 sentences very quickly and check and decide which one we will use. Is it the simple or the continuous? First one. this semester. This semester, we are studying Shakespeare in English class, right? We are studying. So, David usually at the office on Baker Street, but at the moment he is working at the office on Harrow Road. So at the moment, right? So when we say usually, it's one of the keywords. If you look at sentence number 2, David usually is. This is one of the keywords that presents the simple format of your present tense. So works. So David usually works. But when we say at the moment, he is working, right? So present continuous. Third one, Stephen feels stressed these days. So the way that he feels, the state that he feels in, feels stressed. And he isn't sleeping or doesn't sleep well at night. As long there is a specific timeline, they usually use more of the continuous. So it's still continuous. He is not sleeping well. Tony generally plays soccer on Saturday. That is generally, right? And it's a habit. But this Saturday, he will take his daughter to the movies. So this one is pretty straightforward. Babies often cry when they are hungry. We're describing that. But my baby is crying all the time these days. So because it's still going on these days and the impact's still going on, so we use a continuous. I almost never spend time in the kitchen. Almost. But today, I am making dinner for everyone. Okay, so today, I'm making dinner for everyone. Right? So this one is for the continuous. Yes, right? Let's go jump in here. Next, present perfect simple. Okay. What we talked about the present perfect simple? We said it is a past tense, but it is somehow related to the present. We said that the present perfect is about an activity is over, but it still has an effect on the present, right? So here we have the usages. We say the present perfect simple is used to talk about a state that started in the past and has still going on, or it has continued until now. And we often use the present perfect simple to talk about life experiences. So we said we talk about stories, and if you want to say something that happened to you, you probably would use that. We use the present perfect to with these keywords like already, just, yet, almost, to show strong relationships to now. So pretty much it's just a conclusion to what we've been discussing earlier. Let's check these sentences. I'll do like a couple one. If you want to join, you're always welcome. And I will send you all the answers for all the activities for later on. I'm thinking also to do a WhatsApp group, but let me just finish the lesson. I will discuss that. Okay, so we want to put the present perfect into these sentences. We've got all these verbs. We said that the present perfect is basically has or have plus verb 3. I'm going to give to a gift shop. It's Sonia's birthday party tonight, and I haven't bought tickets. Hugo and Mila have visited London 3 times this year. They love going there. Then we've got, I don't want to talk about this again. We have discussed this issue at least 3 times this week. I think it was a mistake to build our own house. It has cost a lot of money and the house still isn't finished. Can you please speak to Megan? I have explained the instructions, but she hasn't started the task. The last one, Owen hasn't cleaned the house this week because he hasn't had time to do it. Okay. I know I'm going fast. It's just because I'm sending you guys all the answers. I just need you to understand the format and the rule. All right, that's it for today's lesson. So for your assignment, your first assignment is about a person